Local officials, election workers, and candidates have been busy preparing for the upcoming 2023 municipal election, but as Benta Boutier reports, these off-year elections historically sees lower participation rates.
11 municipal positions and 1 referendum are on the ballot this election in Monroe County. Of those, only 1 race is contested. Brett Heinisch is running for City Council District 3 and is the only Republican trying to get elected.
You end up with one institution dominating everything and it becomes reflective of that institution. I think it's important to have more competition because that pushes people to do better.
Heinisch volunteered on several campaigns and interned for congressmen such as Todd Young. He studied political science in school. He has some ideas for local policies, but wants to hear from constituents about their needs.
I'm going to stand by everything I say on the campaign trail, but new issues I may not have even thought of on the campaign trail could show up, and those will have to be addressed too. So I want to make sure I'm hearing from my constituents so that I can get those new needs as they come up addressed.
He hopes bringing a new option to the table will increase voter engagement. David Henry is on the Monroe County Election Board and is the chair of the Monroe County Democratic Party. He agrees a contest of ideas is important.
While some districts in town have had the same representative for a decade or more, Dave Rollo comes to mind in his district. District 3 has had, I think, 4 representatives in the past 16 years.
Henry feels optimistic because of high Democratic voter turnout in this year's primary, though that's still just about 20% of registered voters. This year, 513 seats in Indiana are listed as no election, meaning those nominees ran unopposed and local election boards decided not to hold elections for those seats. On election day, after the polls closed, those nominees would be elected. That includes Steinsville and Ellettsville, where there were no contested races. Of 109 mayoral races, 44 were unopposed. Of 109 city clerk and city clerk treasurer positions, 78 were unopposed. Henry says this can be attributed to Americans politically becoming more polarized, which started in the 1970s.
That sorting that's going on, where counties are getting either redder or bluer instead of purpler, if you will, is a challenge. But you'll notice that, in a lot of ways, Monroe County is sort of a mirror image of neighboring counties where you may see a 90% Republican turnout versus a Democratic turnout. But that is a phenomenon that's occurring.
As of Tuesday, fewer than 300 people had voted in Monroe County. Regardless of turnout, lead workers start preparing about 6 weeks before early voting begins. Talking layout with the election supervisor, recruiting workers, and onboarding people to work early voting, just to name a few tasks.
If you didn't mark it, there's no issue. If you do mark it, then we gotta fill out a form about it.
Whether it's a municipal election or a national election, we still get concerned about, does everything match? Has everything been done in accordance with election law?
Your standard flow of people coming over here, you're gonna have your rhythm, you all work as a team.
Hopi Stosburg, the Democratic candidate for Bloomington City Council District 3, says it feels weird to be the only contested race on the ballot.
Some of them actually forget that I'm in a contested race at this point as well, just because they're not having to think about an election. They're not having to think about campaigning. They're not having to think about any of those things that I am having to think about. They've skipped this step.
She and Heinisch are running in a competitive district, having elected 4 different representatives in the last 16 years. But it's not the only one. Bloomington's other 5 city council district seats, the 3 at-large city council spots, clerk and mayoral candidate Carrie Thompson are unopposed on the ballot. For Indiana News Desk, I'm Benta Boutier.